I, 28F, have been struggling financially for the past few months. I got laid off from my marketing job 6 months ago and have been working 2 part-time jobs while job hunting in my field. I'm barely making rent and have been cutting costs wherever I can. My friend group consists mostly of people I met in college who are all doing pretty well financially. We have a tradition of getting together once a month for dinner at various restaurants around the city. These dinners usually end up being quite expensive, especially since most of my friends order multiple cocktails, appetizers, entrees, and desserts. At the end, someone always suggests, let's just split it evenly, which I've gone along with in the past, even though I typically order less than others. Last month's dinner cost me $85 despite only ordering water and the cheapest entree on the menu, $24. I simply can't afford to subsidize everyone else's expensive taste right now, but I also didn't want to miss out on seeing my friends. So yesterday was our monthly dinner at an upscale fusion restaurant downtown. I made sure to eat beforehand at home, and when everyone started ordering, I just asked for water. My friends gave me curious looks but continued ordering their dishes. When the appetizers arrived, they offered me some, and I took a small piece here and there when directly offered. When the server came by to check if I wanted to order an entree, I just said, "I'm good, thanks." My friend Jess, 27F, immediately asked if I was feeling okay. I told her I was fine, just not hungry. Someone else suggested maybe I had a late lunch, and I just nodded. Throughout the dinner, I participated in the conversation and tried to act normal, but I could feel a few of my friends giving me concerned looks. When the bill came, there was an awkward moment as everyone pulled out their cards. My friend Mark, 29M, said, "So, split 7 ways?" I politely said, "I didn't order anything, so I won't be part of the split." The table went silent. Jess said, "But you had some of the calamari and spring rolls." I replied, "Just a small taste when you offered." I literally had maybe 2 bites. Mark cleared his throat and said, "That's kind of weird, don't you think? You came to dinner but didn't eat." I felt my face getting hot. I just didn't feel like eating at a restaurant tonight, but I wanted to see everyone. Another friend, Tina, 28F, chimed in. "If money's tight, you could have just said something. We would understand." That comment made me feel even worse. I didn't want to announce my financial struggles to everyone. I mumbled something about it not being about money, even though it absolutely was. The bill ended up being split 6 ways among everyone else, but the rest of the evening had this uncomfortable tension. As we were leaving, my closest friend in the group, Allie, 28F, pulled me aside and asked what was really going on. I hesitated before finally admitting to Allie that I was having money problems. I explained about the previous dinner where I'd paid $85 despite only ordering a cheap meal and water. She looked genuinely concerned and apologized for not noticing sooner. She suggested we talk to the group about changing how we handle the bill, but I begged her not to say anything. I was already embarrassed enough. On the subway ride home, I received several texts in our group chat. Most were normal post-dinner thank yous and plans for next time, but then Mark sent a separate message. "Hey guys, maybe next time we should each pay for what we order? Just thinking it might be more fair." Jess replied, "Seems reasonable. Not everyone consumes equally." I knew they were talking about me, and I felt a mix of relief and humiliation. At least they were open to changing the bill situation, but it was obvious I'd caused a disruption in our usual dynamic. The next morning, I woke up to a direct message from Tina. "Hey, I just wanted to check in. Last night felt a bit off. I've been thinking about it and realized we've been pretty oblivious. You've been quieter lately at our gatherings and turning down other activities. Is everything okay financially? No judgment at all. We all go through tough times." I appreciated her concern, but still felt ashamed. After staring at my phone for 20 minutes, I finally replied that yes, I'd been struggling since losing my job. I'd been too proud to say anything because everyone else seems to be thriving in their careers. Tina suggested we do something free for our next get-together, like a potluck at someone's apartment or a picnic in the park. She also privately told me that she'd been in a similar situation a few years ago before landing her current job, and she wished she'd been more open with friends instead of isolating herself. Later that afternoon, I received another text, this time from Mark. His message was brief and a bit cold. "Next time just be upfront instead of making things awkward for everyone." The text made me question whether I had handled the situation poorly. Maybe I should have just skipped the dinner entirely, or maybe I should have been honest from the beginning about my financial situation. But I really didn't want to be the subject of pity or have my financial struggles become the focus of conversation. 2 days later, Jess called me. She started with small talk, asking about my job search and offering to connect me with some people she knew in the industry. Then she brought up the dinner. "Look, I get why you did what you did, but it was just weird. You could have told us you weren't eating beforehand, or suggested separate checks from the start." It felt like you were making some kind of statement. I tried to explain that I just wanted to spend time with everyone without making my money problems the center of attention, but she wasn't really listening. And honestly, she continued, if you can't afford dinner, maybe there are other things we can do. But showing up and watching everyone eat while you sit there with water? It made people uncomfortable. By the time we hung up, I felt even worse than before. Maybe I was the asshole. Maybe my attempt to handle this discreetly had actually drawn more attention to myself and created an awkward situation for everyone. That evening, I received a group text from Allie proposing a movie night at her place next weekend instead of our usual restaurant dinner. Most people reacted positively, though I noticed Mark didn't respond at all. The day before Allie's movie night, I received an unexpected call from Mark. I almost didn't answer, still feeling stung by his text, but curiosity got the better of me. Hey, he started, sounding uncharacteristically hesitant. Got a minute to talk? After an awkward pause, Mark cleared his throat. So, I've been thinking about dinner the other night, and I think I owe you an apology. I was genuinely surprised. Mark had always been the most financially successful of our group. He worked in finance and often picked up the tab at bars without blinking. Tina talked to me, he continued. She made me realize that I've never had to worry about money the way some people do. My parents paid for college and helped with the down payment on my condo. I guess I never really considered how different things might be for others in our friend group. I didn't know what to say, so I just listened. Anyway, he went on. I looked back at our past dinners and realized we've always just split bills evenly without thinking about it. That probably wasn't fair to you, even before you lost your job. It's fine, I said automatically, though it wasn't. I should have spoken up sooner. No, we should have been more considerate, he insisted. And my text was out of line. I was embarrassed that I hadn't noticed you were struggling, so I got defensive. We talked for nearly an hour. Mark revealed that his older brother had gone through similar financial troubles, but never told the family until he was facing eviction. He admitted he felt guilty for missing the signs with both his brother and me. By the time we hung up, something had shifted. I felt a weight lifting from my shoulders. Being honest about my situation, even if initially forced, was beginning to feel liberating rather than humiliating. The movie night at Allie's was relaxed and fun. Everyone brought something. I contributed a homemade dip that cost next to nothing but was always a hit. No one mentioned the restaurant incident directly, but I noticed subtle changes. The conversation briefly turned to job hunting, and several friends offered genuine connections and leads. 2 weeks later, our monthly dinner was replaced by a potluck at Jess's apartment. As we were cleaning up, Jess pulled me aside. We're changing things up a bit, she said. For restaurant nights, we're going to do separate checks from now on. And we're mixing in more potlucks and other activities that don't cost much. I started to protest that they didn't need to change their traditions for me, but she cut me off. It's not just for you. Tina mentioned she'd been stressed about the restaurant bills too, but didn't want to say anything. And it turns out Ryan has student loans he's trying to pay down faster. This works better for everyone. Later that night, I reflected on how differently things had turned out than I expected. My attempt to hide my financial situation had paradoxically brought it into the open, but instead of the judgment I feared, I found understanding. The experience had actually strengthened some of my friendships and made our group more considerate of each other's different circumstances. So, Reddit, AITA for not ordering food that night? Maybe my approach wasn't perfect, but it led to some honest conversations that were probably overdue. I've learned that true friends want to know when you're struggling, not to pity you, but to find ways to maintain the friendship through the rough patches. And for anyone going through something similar, it's okay to set boundaries around money, and real friends will understand. You don't have to choose between your financial health and your social life. Sometimes you just need to start an awkward but necessary conversation.